young chap emailed me yesterday. You can't do anything with an email. And also, there's a strange paradox in the world, which is this so-called communication. Oh, I've got to not be pretentious. I just spent the afternoon writing a few things to a few people. Deep, real things. People I've met face to face. Even that. Do people read anything? Does it go in? Does it ever actually? I mean, all of them. These, God, 40, 45, 50-year-olds and over. Oh, I've met a few down here. They use this awful word, connection. And then it started as, oh, you've reached out. But then we have connection. And connection is when you actually get to know somebody and they're reasonably honest. If we can ever be. If we can ever know what to say. There's one in particular. Oh, that day. Licking salt on the dreadful, dreary salt path. Anyway, to the point. Don't watch that movie, by the way. Mine's got a different ending, and it's like a real fucking live on ending. It's a real battle on. Battle on, battle on. It's a bit deeper than that. Anyway, yes. I should make some little clips. No, I have made some little clips earlier in the year. One of them's about loneliness. And we hear that lots of younger men get pretty suicidal. But you know, what is loneliness? Now that's an interesting one. I need to finish off my great big essay on that. But all I know, in fact, there you go. It's like incredibly briefly. I've realised over the last 4 or 5 years, there are just people who don't drink. Not many of us. And then there's everybody else, and that's their business. But it does make people different, and I think it's really good for your balance at the end of the day. Just always, no matter what, you just don't let stuff affect you much. Anyway, in the first 7 or 8 years of my adult life, from 16 years old, I couldn't really drink normally, ever. If I had one drink, I would end up having 5 of them, and my father was an alcoholic, and I kind of knew what that was, and it was awful. Always. To me, alcohol was always, a lot of people end up in problems, but I couldn't drink normally. And I only actually drank about 10% of the time over a decade. 90% of the time I'd be, oh God, when I drink I can't just have one. It's like I always have a bit too much. I would have 20% more than other people, and I drank to get high. Anyway, I saw Anthony Hopkins, I think, on the television. It might have been the radio. I think it was the television. And he was talking about how he used to be a terrible alcoholic for 10 or 20 years. Nearly killed him. And then he managed to kick it. And I watched that bit. It's really good new Anthony Hopkins film recently, a few weeks ago. It's like, you can see in there, yeah, he managed to become somebody entirely different. So when I first heard him speak, it was like, but I think I wrote a letter, writing into where, I'm not sure. I know I wrote something. Dear Mr. Hopkins, do you know, it was great to hear you talk about that. But even that is kind of tough stuff, and there are lots and lots of young men who feel that because they can seemingly connect to others out there who maybe they could almost see as mentors. I think in a bizarre way that makes it worse. You think somebody might have some wise words to share with you. The only wise words I know, I mean, things like loneliness, things like shyness. I was a really shy person until I had to kind of become somebody else 20 years ago just to kind of survive in a way. You can end up changing. That's all there is to say. You can end up changing for real. And it's only 10, 20, 30 years later you look back and like, I really did change. You don't change. There's that core that stays inside of you, of the person that you were in your teens. That person's always inside of you. I met a wonderful woman who's trying to think of how to improve the conversation regarding therapeutic things, and I was telling her my good line, which is great, it's copyright me. The inner child never leaves, but you've got to learn how to parent that little inner child. Walk hand in hand along the pathway and you're there guiding it. That's what I know is a better way of thinking about things. But anyway, yes, she liked that. It's good. I couldn't think of things like that 20 years ago. I was as tongue-tied as some, or quite a lot of people are. I don't care anymore. Your little inner child is still there. It's never gone. But most of what you are becomes different. And then you realise over time it can stay different. That's all there is to say. And it doesn't feel like it's an impediment. Give up bothering to think. Everybody's too busy with their little connections. None of which are real. Right. Oh, maybe I should leave this county altogether. It's just full of bullshit. Bullshit little performances. Everywhere. Except for one or two. Bizarrely, the one I think was not a performer is the ultimate Barbie woman. I'd like to encounter her again and find out who she really is.